Greetings. When we last left, Martin had taken the Gaunt Brains into town and spent the night at the Watchtower Inn. There he was attacked by a strange ratling asking him where the scroll was. But he was saved by luck and the timely arrival of an ice mage named Wren. Martin, seeing an opportunity, tried to recruit Wren into the fellowship, but Wren said she had some business to which to attend before she could leave town. Martin turned the brains in, learned a couple potion recipes, I should say, then returned to the vineyard to discuss events with Rurik and Tiny. That evening, while the group was in repose with Lady Laurel, there was a knock at the manor door, and the manservant indicated that there was a woman to see Martin. Lo and behold, it was Wren, who indicated that she would join the party, but only if they would help her first. Welcome to episode 21, Quid Pro Quo. Come in, Martin's very excited. And he bids, he introduces Wren. This is Lady Laurel. This is Wren. And right, he introduces Rurik and Tiny. And I'm sure that Zachary Laurel is there. And maybe even the girlfriend Tessa, maybe not. But nonetheless, he introduces everyone. And, inquires, so you decided to join us? She says, yes. Wren nods and says, yes, but that business that I said I needed to attend to, well, I still need to attend to it, but I am going to need help. I will join you, but on the condition that you help me first so that I can leave Salem with a with my task complete. And I think, like, Tiny's looking at the windows, right? And he's getting a little chilly because it gets noticeably colder when she enters the room. Not by a ton, a degree or two, but it does get chillier. And Martin's like, well, of course. And Rorik's, well, let's hear what it is first. And then Rurik seems satisfied by that. But he was certainly looking at Martin like, cool your jets there, lover boy. I think Rorik's like, dude, come on, really? And so she says, well, I do bear a rune. And I think the lady, this is just like a random. Yeah, I think the lady is going to get up and sort of bustle herself out of the room and maybe tap Zachary and indicate that she needs to see him elsewise. Because I think I have to see what her reaction is, right? Because it's one thing to take in these vagabond adventurers who saved your son from, certain from a ransom, which you couldn't pay without selling the farm, as it were. It's another thing to bring in heathens and, right? It's another thing to bring in magicians and wizards into your home. And she might be able to overlook that and she might not. It sort of depends, and I don't know yet. So, but I think at first, once she hears that, she is like, I will let you attend to your business then. And she gets her son and leaves because she doesn't want to hear the business. Maybe there's some superstition there that she will be somehow tainted by even hearing about a wizard's business. So, I mean, and that's one thing to note, right? Though it is largely, it has been told to me several times that rune bearers are indeed the most interesting types of PCs in Bostonia. Theoretically, they should be rare because, well, most people don't like them, right? Most people, indeed, the church doesn't like them, and most church-going folk shun them. Obviously, it's not illegal to be a wizard. And it is, you know, right? But it is absolutely frowned upon. So there is a stigma attached. And I don't know that Lady Laurel might or might not, you know, say something, since, again, she is being very polite to the saviors of her vineyard. But I definitely think that that's put a chill a tiny bit. In fact, let's pull up the game notes if we have them. I actually don't have them up. Let me pull the game notes up. And I'm going to say Lady Laurel's down to +1 there, because I think she's a little bit put out. And I'll roll to see if they get that point back or not, right? Blah, blah, blah. Stabbed before the place was burned. And this is the night of the 15th. Night of the 15th. Wren appears at Laurel Vineyard and tells the PCs she will join them. They will need to help her first. There you go. You can watch me type. Yay. So there you go. So Lady Laurel leaves, and they have a discussion, and I think Rorik is like, so yes, Miss, tell us what this assistance is that you need. She says, do you have you heard of Octavio Orask? And I think that is a Tiny. I think I'll switch now that we're not with Lady Laurel. I think I will switch to the vineyard. My vineyard background. I need a better vineyard. I like the painting though, strangely enough. I think it's sort of cool. It's not very gamey, but it's sort of cool. And so I think Tiny he'll roll his knowledge of Salem, and I think maybe nobility. So we'll let Martin roll as well. So we're gonna do 2d12, and Tiny is first. Martin is second. Martin rolls a 12 for Tiny, so a 22. So absolutely, they you know, putting their heads together, certainly do know. And Tiny's like, oh yeah, that's the wizard. He lives in the tower in Overlook. Yeah. That's a mess. I wouldn't go up there. And Martin chimes in, oh yeah, I thought I heard a story that you know, several years ago, a Runebearer did some service, like saved Lord Falaran on the battlefield. Yeah, but Tiny's like, yeah, that is the story. He supposedly saved Lord Falaran, so Lord Falaran let him actually move into town and gave him the land, a patch of land in Overlook, and commissioned this tower, and that's where the guy did all his stuff. Usually it's not a problem, but he put up Tiny says, yeah, he put up a bunch of like lightning rods after a storm. So the story being that there was a series of storms which came through and did a bunch of damage to Overlook with several lightning strikes actually in the city, catching some of the taller buildings on fire. But Octavio stopped that with a series of lightning rods. One of the main ones put on the top of his tower, which is like 5 or 6 stories tall. And so the townsfolk of Overlook mostly overlooked, I mean, pun intended, I suppose, mostly overlooked, you know, the fact that occasionally there might be some noise from there or a flash of light or something of that nature, right? They knew he was some kind of storm wizard, or at least knew something about the storms. And so, but as long as he was benefiting them, so be it. Martin's like, but you said, Tiny, that you said not to go there because it's a mess. Why? What happened? Like, oh, yeah. It was just a few days before you arrived. Just a couple days before you guys arrived. A huge strike of lightning hit that tower and blew the top of it off. And Rourke's like, blew the top of it off. Yeah, man. Like, just took the top of it and just, like, exploded. Rocks everywhere. Wrecked some of the nearby houses, I think. Debris in the street. It's all blocked off up there. There's guards everywhere. Oh, yeah. Supposedly, no one's allowed in or around that thing until some agents from the church get here. Oh. And Rourke looks back at Wren, who is sitting there sort of blank-faced, hands folded in her lap. So what is it you need? And she looks sort of deadpans. Well, of course, I need in that tower. And I think he scoffs, right? Rourke's like, oh, you're kidding. He just said that no one's allowed in and that the church is going to investigate and this place just exploded. How possibly could you think that getting in there was a good idea? And Martin's like, well, it must be important. She's like, it is. What do you want out of there? Octavio was not just a lightning mage. He happened to be the holder of one of, let's say 2. I think there's 2 of them. I'm not 1,000% sure, but let's say there's 2. I could probably read. Hold on, give me 1 second. I probably had that open. Do we know? Oh, that's Blizzard. Hand o' lightning. 3 rods. There are 3 rods. He's a possessor of one of the 3 rods that can grant the rune, the Hand of Lightning. In fact, that was probably the rod that he was using. It's very possible that that was part of the rod he was using as the lightning rod, since it is said to, it's said to actually attract nearby lightning from storms. And I could see how it might be used to protect the rest of the town from strikes. Very clever, don't you think? Martin's like, yes. Like, Martin's like, oh, yeah, sure, that actually does sound clever. And Tiny's probably nodding, and Rourke's like, no, I don't think we can, I'm not sure we can do this. What? Let me think. So I think Rourke's a little, Rourke is, he's superstitious, right? So, I mean, I don't think he likes dealing with wizards in general. Although he's a mercenary, he's been on the battlefield, I'm sure that he knows that they can be amazingly useful. And certainly he would feel better going, say, into the tomb with a Runebearer. Not that that really even makes sense, because you'd be better off with a priest, frankly, who knew the incantation to smite the enemies of the church, because not all of them do. So like a Sunbringer or something. But I think just his superstition assumes that wizards, undead, it's all the same mumbo jumbo. So he would feel better going down there with someone like Wren in there than in the party than he would without. But I think he's real wary about, say, going against the guard or the priests. That sounds like bad mojo to him. So you want this rod. What even possibly made you think that he was going, I mean, how did you think you were going to get it? You're not going to steal it off of a master wizard. No. I was going to ask. Ask? Yes, I was going to ask. And she plops down effectively like an envelope, right? A little, a reasonably, not thick, but a large envelope with a little ribbon or whatever. And Martin picks it up, opens it, reads what's inside. Did he know? It looks at her over the paper. Did he know? Wren shakes her head. No, I don't believe so. My mother gave me that before she passed. Martin looks over. She's his daughter. Rourke shakes his head. And Tiny's like, oh, I'm sorry, but I don't know that anybody, no one's seen Octavio since the strike. I mean, everybody thinks, Martin gives him a look. What? Martin's like, come on, Rourke. We've got to at least help her. Try to see if, her father might be in there alive, if nothing else. And if not, then that rod's her birthright, don't you think? And God damn it. So I think, because I was just thinking about everybody's, so I was thinking today just about everybody's father, right? Sort of. And because I know Martin and his father just absolutely don't get along at all. Like not even close, right? Absolutely not. Yeah, there you go. And I rolled a 12. And I think Rourke's father died. And I think Rourke's one of those guys. He's like, look, I would give my left arm to have even like an hour more with my dad than I did. Right? I think Rourke's father like taught him all the things. Now once he died when he was maybe a teen, right then Rourke turned to stupid stuff, right? He did things that teens do and right? He turned to a little bit he fell in with a bad crowd. He turned to a life of crime, but felt that if his dad was alive, he probably wouldn't have done all that. Kind of that I think that's sort of where Rourke's head is. So unfortunately, that resonates. I mean, unfortunately for Rourke, not for the party. Unfortunately for Rourke, I think that really resonates with him. All right. We'll help you get into that tower, but not if it's. But I'm not doing violence against the town guard. And she's like, no, I don't think that would be wise. All right, then, it's settled. I think we should do this as soon as possible. Now, So he's, I mean, and I think Martin, I don't know if he told them last episode or not. I had to go back and watch the footage, but he definitely, right. He tells them about the rattling for sure. And so I think he wants to move things along, Martin, right? So he's like, so we should do, as you know, ASAP. I think we should help Wren pack up, get out of town, and see what we can do. There's some small towns up north on the lake, and then we can maybe make those a base and then head for the tomb. So how are we going to get in? So Rourke's like, so how do we think we're getting into this tower? Wren indicates, so I was up there thinking that I would just be able to go and call upon my father. But obviously, as Tiny said here, there indeed are guards. No less than 5 I counted. 2 at the door and then 1 at each side of the tower otherwise. It is, I think, 5 stories. Let me look. I don't, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then, you know, the roof effectively. So yeah, 5 plus 1, like a balcony kind of thing. But the top one is blown away and a mess. And there is debris everywhere, and they still haven't cleaned up some of it because pretty much a large chunk of that top wall and the balcony fell into like a bunch of buildings and then brought them crashing down. And so the street is all wrecked. So I think they put their heads together and start talking about ways to get in there. And so what are the possible ways? So let's put, they're going to discuss ways into the tower. And so what are the possible options? So one possible option would be to bribe the guards, right? Bribe the guards. Probably that's going to take some streetwise. I would argue that's probably the best. Streetwise, maybe some corrals, maybe some pro soldier, because then he knows them kind of thing, right? Or pro town guard. What does Rourke has? That's definitely a Rourke thing. We'll say soldier. Right, that would be that kind of that, and that's probably going to cost quite a bit because these guys, you know, don't want to lose their jobs, and you'll have to probably pay all of them, and so you're talking $100 to $200 probably, because this is sort of a big deal and it's high profile, like, you know, bribing them to let to let you break curfew or something, that might be a couple pennies, but bribing them to let you into probably the most famous building in the damn city that just got hit by lightning, and the church wants to, the investigators want to take a look. It's probably a little bit more than that. Maybe they could go in from the quote unquote the top. Nearby building. But the tower is the highest building probably in that area. Is there a middle window they can get in? Similarly, Wren indicates she has effectively the spell Animate Rope. So, and those two are pretty much the same, right? Go in, like one would largely be trying to animate the rope. So you'd hold one end of the rope, animate it to go across, and then pull itself taut. But there'd have to be something to tie it to on the other side, or a grapple to hook to on the other side. Like, because it cannot, The animate rope, I don't know, I'd have to read it. We'll have to see if it can actually hold a human's weight while it is being animated, or if it has to tie off. But nonetheless, those are about the same idea. The idea would be, can we, from like the roof of a nearby building, get to a window on the tower over the guards? Now, the problem is that the guards are positioned in such a way that it smells like you'd be in their peripheral vision, right? It's not like Assassin's Creed where no one looks up ever for any reason. Like everybody has a weird neck problem where if they bend their head back, their head would fall off their shoulders. No. And so it feels like that you'd still need something to distract, block the view, right? Have the guards not be there. Maybe there's a shift change, something like that. You could disguise as guards on shift change, but that might require a bribe or violence, right? If you disguise, bribe, violence. A little bit of magic maybe might help. She does have snowfall, which is actually, just looking up the numbers with snowfall, is not, it's near whiteout conditions for an hour. So, and now mind you, it's summer. So I would make her cast that at a penalty to create that whiteout condition. Probably like at a +3 she'd have to get. So like instead of a DL10 on that first circle spell to create a whiteout in the summer, she would probably have to do like a 13 to create those conditions. So not ideal. So I don't think those are bad, but I think they're going to have to investigate to see. They're going to have to investigate to see if any of these sort of make sense, right? Maybe scope out and case the joint, as it were, and see when the shift changes are and how chaotic they are. And maybe go into the bars, go in and carouse and yak it up with some of the guards to see who's bribable. And then maybe have Tiny use his Salem-y knowledge to see, right? And we can, again, ask around to see if there's any other ways in. Are there any rumors about the tower, for instance? Are there any right? This is a mage, so maybe he had some sort of secret door in or out. You know, heck, maybe you could just go into the next building and there's a secret door that goes, right, or something. But no one knows. So we could investigate. Let's do that. We'll investigate tower rumors, secret entrance, right? That kind of thing. So I think those are the avenues. Excuse me. And that's what the party's going to have to do in preparation for getting in. So I think they break for the night. I think Wren is not interested in imposing on Lady Laurel, having the fact that she came in the evening. She knows she's going to head back. And they agree to meet at the Watchtower tomorrow in the morning to collect themselves and then go continue, right, get their investigation started. I think Martin will accompany her back because he is sort of the most invested in her joining up and doesn't want to sort of leave her alone to her own devices, you know, at night in the streets, and also wants to sort of keep in her ear the idea of how great an idea this is for her to join, that kind of thing. So they will stay at the I'll pay for your room at the Watchtower, blah blah blah, that kind of thing, right? And so they go to the Watchtower. I'm going to give them a small chance to have an encounter, 1d12, a 1, but it's a 12. So they do make it back in, and that's how they spend their night. And so on the 16th, they're going to investigate. I think they'll do that in 2 teams. I think Rorik will insist on going with Wren. And I think Tiny and Martin. Rorik wants to take the measure of this woman who is asking them to do arguably a dangerous and illegal stunt. And I think they want to separate the beefcakes here to go with the slightly wimpier 2 characters. So the mage and Rorik and Tiny and Martin will go. And they're going to go. So Rorik is going to go and talk to the guards. Use corrals, streetwise, etc., right? So is someone bribable? Now she doesn't have anything to help. She is just there as moral support. I don't think she has anything to help. Yeah, she's that's not her gig. But Rorik has a lot of these skills. He is a carouser, he is a gambler, he is a professional soldier, and does he have streetwise? He does not have streetwise. Unfortunately, that's Martin. So we'll do carouse and we'll do carouse, gamble, and professional soldier. Done. And he will talk it up. So let's see sort of how well he rolls. We'll say all these DLs they're not super difficult. Let's say they are 10s, and we will sort of get a degree of success plus or minus on all of these. So Rorik's carouse is 11, so he's 1 up, and he scores 1. So he actually succeeds on carouse, 1 above. Gamble, not so much. He's not actually using this as much to gain information. But yeah, he'll use his gamble. Oh my God, he gets 10 above. Jesus. 18, he actually wins by 8. So he very much ingratiates himself with the soldiers. So he is literally 9. He's won by 9 so far. So we'll let him roll professional soldier to sort of talk the guards up and see who the weakest links are. And he does indeed succeed there for a total of plus 10 overall. So what I'm doing is I'm just counting making him make 3 skill checks and then his degree of success. In other words, how much he succeeds by on each one. I'm sort of counting that up. And he's done very, very well. So I think he gambles with them all night and carouses with them, like, throughout most of the afternoon and all the night. And then asks them, just a few questions about the shift changes and like who might or might not be shady and or on the or who has better stuff than maybe he should on a guard salary. And so I'm going to say that for his success on any bribery check, we'll take a +2. So if we have to bribe someone, so we'll write that in our game notes here. So he succeeds pretty well. Succeeds at +10. And so we'll divide that by the 3 that we did. So he gets 3 1/3. So hell, we'll give a +3 to the bribery, which that's going to equal +3 to any bribe. And maybe +1 to any shenanigans on the shift change. How do you spell shenanigans? Right, he overhears some stuff. He knows which shift is the messiest shift, like that kind of thing, right? But he was primarily trying to figure out who is maybe on the take more than someone else. And we're going to roll to see if do they have potentially an encounter. 2. Oh. So I'm going to say no for them because Martin's not in this group. Martin has a higher chance to have one because of his encounter with the ratling. He's got maybe a little bit going on in town. So we're going to give Martin and Tiny a worse chance to potentially meet misfortune in town. But they were a 1 in 12. So, no. So they just, and they mostly hang out at the tavern with the watchtower. Hell, the freaking watchtower. Or maybe in Overlook. They split between the watchtower and Overlook a little bit. Right? And hang out with the guards in both of those districts. So all is quiet there. Now, Tiny and Martin are actually going to go, and they're going to case the area. And it's funny because we picked the exact, we didn't pick the wrong people to do it, but so we're going to use knowledge of Salem. And I think maybe streetwise and maybe investigate. So I'll give them those. So Tiny will do a 10 again. So Tiny succeeds by 2. So he actually makes that check. And then Martin has a where are we at here? We're streetwise is 11. So -1, so that's a 0. And then an investigate of 9. 6, so +5. So between Tiny, so +2, +5. So we ended up with, okay, so that's not bad either. So let's go to the game notes. So they're going to spend their day. So they are casing the area and asking the urchins, the beggars, etc. And they actually succeed at +7 total. So they made 3 checks at +7, and that is actually 2 1/3. So that's not bad, strangely enough. So what I'm going to say is that, so they look around, and they certainly could try the little rope trick or getting a, but I think they scratched that one off because unless there is a way to ensure the guards can't see you, they're going to see you coming across on a rope. Like there's just no good way. The buildings are only a couple stories around this tower. This tower is the tallest thing there. It towers over most of the other buildings by 3 stories probably. And so the best you could do would be to get on a nearby shop with an apartment or 2 on the top. So maybe a 3-story tall building, we'll say, across to a mid-level window. But you are absolutely within view of the guard. So I think they they mentally cross that one off unless they can, what do you want to say? Unless they can obscure the vision. So going across. So it's a very successful investigate. So they going across to a window would be possible, but you'd be seen unless you can distract or obscure vision. And then, I mean, you know, maybe that could be a bribe, right? You could bribe them to leave their post for just 10 minutes, right? You could bribe them, or you could use the snowfall. Now, that's weirdly specific, so I don't know that that wouldn't draw attention, but you could. But I'm going to say they also learn. They also learn of a potential, so a rumor also learn of a rumor that the mage, Octavio, has a secret passage underground from, interesting. So does it connect to like a sewer? That's one option. Does it connect to a nearby building? I mean, it would have to be a quite extensive tunnel to get out of town. We'll make that like the crazy number. Let's say nearby building is 1 through 7. Sewer is 8 through 11. 12 is the crazy, right? 4. So nearby building. Leading into the tower. Basement of the tower. Right, he had it built in case he needed to make a quick escape. What building? Don't know. No one knows right now. We'd have to do further investigation to find that out. As we said, we did learn who is bribable. Bribable, is that a thing? And how the shifts work. Is there anything else that they could possibly learn to make one of these choices make more sense than others? No, because I think bribing covers half of these, right? In the sense of, I want to distract the guards, or I want them to not be present for 20 minutes, or I want to get guard uniforms. Well, those are all bribes, probably. Those are all bribes. So I think a lot of it comes down to bribes. But this underground passage might also be a good one if you can find it. So that is one day. That is the 16th. They investigate all day. Martin and Tiny. Oh, so Martin and Tiny. So, of course, Tiny's in town. So I think that's going to up the chance even further. So I think 2 and 12 for Martin to have, and then we'll up that to 3 and 12 because Tiny is with him. Oh, that was bad to put those two together. So 3 and 12 for a potentially disastrous. Yes. Okay. So as they are casing the joint in Overlook, You know why? Do you know why? So, okay. So let's figure out who this is. Okay. Oh, this is going to be good. Okay. Let's figure out who this is. So, but while Martin and Tiny are casing the area, they have an encounter with... So who possibly do they come across? The rat assassin. I'm going to put that in quotes because I don't know if he was an assassin, but do they come across the rat assassin? Do they come across Tiny's, the press gangers? Do they come across other mercenaries? Do they come across the town guard who has been tipped off suspiciously? Any other thing we can think of? No, I think that's a good one. Let's roll 1d12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, we could roll 1d4 because we're doing equal chances, I think, for these. And we get a 3. Mercenaries. Ooh, crap. Why? That's the question. Why? Who sent them? Like the press gangers, you know why they're here. The rat assassin, you know why he's here. But the other mercs, that actually then doesn't quite add up, right? So how bad is it, do you think? Let's do 1d4 plus 1. We get frickin' 5. It is about as bad as it's going to be. We roll mercs. 5 mercenaries? Oh, jeez. Oh my god, that literally is awful. That is going to be awful. So give me 2 minutes here. I'm going to get a drink and we're going to see what this looks like. I'm going to pause. Okay, so I think that Martin and Tiny are sort of in an alley here, as you can see. And they're probably, like, the tower's probably somewhere over here. I don't know that it's this close, but it's somewhere over here, right? So they're trying to case it without being too obvious. And they're trying to, skirt the edge and see what they can see and so on. In this alleyway, so I'm going to say that this is a street here and that this is a street here. And that their goal would be to get out there if they could to avoid this. Now, I don't know how strictly we're going to, I mean, if these guys fight this, they're done. Like there's no winning this, I don't think. I think 5-2. These mercenaries are reasonably skilled. 10 to 12s probably, just guessing. They're probably not great mercenaries if they're hired to just rando pick up 2 guys on the street. And how the hell did they find us here anyway? But that's a mystery for later. We rolled mercenaries. We're doing mercenaries, damn it. So like this can't be a straight up fight. If this is a straight up fight, we are dead. So largely comes down to, can the heroes find a way to avoid the fight? And that is going to be the goal here, is to, can we avoid combat? So that is going to be sort of where we're at here. So we're going to roll 7d12 initiative. And I tell you what, actually, we're not going to roll initiative. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. The mercenaries do get initiative, but they use it to essentially. So we're going to say Martin is a, we're going to give Martin a 3, Tiny a 2, and these guys will all be zeros at the moment, largely. So we're going to go just, we go, they go. And what the mercenaries do for their first time through is very simply, because again, I don't know how strict this combat's going to be. Very simply, they step out, right? Sort of show the group that they're there and that there's no real good way to get out of this alley. Now, obviously, there's this little scooch here, and maybe they just bolt for it, and then it sort of becomes a different mini game. But so I'm gonna get so that's what the mercenaries do on their quote unquote first turn, is they have weapons drawn and they're like, I think you two are coming with us. And like, who sent you? Yeah, you can worry about that later. For now, drop your weapons and why don't you come quietly so we don't have to spill your blood all over the street. That kind of thing. And this is still daytime, so you can hear people just over there and there. Now, if they just yell out, are they going to get, right? They could call for the watch, and the watch might show up by the time. So you could do that. You could call for the watch and then try to do some kind of fighting retreat, defensive, right? And hope for the best. And then that would be just, can you survive the 2 to 6 rounds before the watch gets to, before the watch gets you? And then you probably end up getting questioned by the watch as well. Right? And which is going to be uncomfortable. So I think we're going to try to avoid that momentarily. Instead, so we're in a back alley here. I'm gonna have Martin will. Heck, they might even be able to squeeze through here, but I would argue that you're probably gonna, like, this probably isn't a quick move, so you're probably stuck here for a round. So if you went here, Tiny would go and he'd be stuck, or Martin would be stuck and Tiny would be protecting him, and then these guys would converge, and then one of you would get out, and then the other one might get stuck like a pig here. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, yeah, like 2 of these guys would be able probably to be in position to attack you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think you'd have 2 mercs here and here. And then you'd have a character here protecting the guy who actually got into the corridor, as it were. And then they would just stick you. In the meantime, the other ones would try to sprint around to the other end. So I don't know that this is viable. I don't know what to do. Like every other fight, even the one with the muggers with Rorik and Martin, they were outnumbered, but it was obvious at that point that you should just press one side and hope for the best. I suppose you could do that here. Press this guy, like literally 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and charge him, and 1, 2. Oh, wait, that's not even a charge move. And then Martin would go 1, 2, 3, you know, right, and charge over here. You could hope to take this guy out in a round, and if you did happen to take this guy out in a round, I mean, then these guys are going to chase around, but then you probably can make it as long, you probably take attacks, and maybe that's the easy play. Everything else relies a little bit on luck. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking a couple things. So that's the first play. So the first play is here. But I think if you go here, you get stuck. Because I don't think you can just run through her. I think you have to squeeze through her. And squeezing through here requires you to stop in this hex. And then you can make a move to get out. But that means that someone's stuck here while two guys attack him. And I think that means you're done. That's one play. I don't like it, but that's one play. The other play would be the combat play. The combat play is go after Merc 1. Merc 1 is vulnerable. Literally charge Merc 1. Hope to take him down and around. Done. Tiny's here. Martin's here, or vice versa. You smack this guy down. You literally hope to get some kind of stun or daze, and then blow past him the next round and into the street. If you get to the street, you probably sort of win. Second move would be to get here. And then if you can survive the one round with these two probably pressing you, then you take, so you have to survive pretty much 2 attacks. And you're probably okay to get to the street at that point. And I'm not going to let them sprint away. I'm going to say that whatever the scale of this is, like I'm going to, right, I think, because the thing to do is take the double sprint move and just go to wherever, and hey, you're out. In which case I'd have added a Merc here, or I should move him or something. Yeah, indeed. I suppose you would need to move him for the Mercs to actually make the attack correctly. You would have to put someone like here. And then that way no one can sprint past. Like you literally have to stop. And then you're back to actually the other problem, which is you need to take one of these guys down quickly. So that's actually better for the Mercs. So we'll do that for the Mercs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then Tiny would come up, and you would both charge these guys. And this is slightly better than Merc 1, because the only thing that they can do, or maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe this is even better, because now you're down here. Either way, you're getting 2 of these guys. So here's what we're gonna do. So those are the play. I think those are the combat plays. The other play would be to allow Martin to make an alchemy check, just look around. Maybe one of these places has a cistern to collect rainwater. And if so, and if Martin makes his alchemy check, then maybe shattering an acid vial into that bucket of water would cause a violent reaction, right? Just enough, probably not super damaging or whatever, but it could be like a little mini explosion, just enough to maybe delay the murk. So if like the buck, you know, right, if you had a barrel of water here or something, and he throws into that bucket and this thing blows up a little bit, or starts spitting acid and bubbling water, then maybe that holds them off for a round. But doing that means you're not doing the other thing. And unfortunately, that might delay him too much. The other thing would be to look and just do a perception check. Ladders, doors. I imagine there are probably a couple doors back here, but that's not going to take time. So I tell you what we're going to do for our heroes. We're going to give them a quick perception search check. Tiny search is 8. He's going to fail. He's getting ready for combat. Martin's search is a 9, I believe, still. And he will succeed. So let's give the group 1d6 features that might help them. So 4 features. Okay, we can take 4 features. So let's give them a door down here. And I'm just going to roll like a d12. Sorry. 6. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's put a door here. That leads sort of in. And I doubt that it's that close to the damn wall. So let me move it out a tiny bit. There you go. So there's a door there. We need 4 of these. So that's 1 feature. Let's put a cistern. Let's put a bucket of water. We'll give him the option, and we'll roll a d12. 7. Oh no. Let's not roll a d. Let's roll a d6. 5. Sure. Sure. Let's put it there. And we'll put 2 of them there. Two. Let's give it a ladder. Building 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is unlikely to help them, frankly. So at that point, I'm just going to make it a door because it's unlikely that they're going to actually be able to manage it there. And then, yeah, let's give them another door, and we'll actually put that door 3. Okay. So not great. I mean, the other thing they could do is they could back through that door, right? And then that's another play all of a sudden. So I think, and maybe that one actually, because then you can put effectively, either Tiny could try to charge through the door. That'd be a muscle check, but he's pretty strong. And then Martin could go in after him. And then at that point, they would look to see if there's something inside that would help. At the very least, if they needed to, they could fight literally 2 at the door and have a guy outside that they, you know, sort of just make a pocket here. So strangely enough, I think that's the play. So I think that Martin is going to, so they look, Martin sort of elbows Tiny, points behind him, and Tiny goes, and he's going to charge through that dang door. This is Overlook, so these aren't like peasant shacks or anything. But let's give Tiny a check against a 14 DL. The door has a strength of a 14. A normal person could kick a door down in X amount of time, right? Might take several kicks. Tiny is not superhumanly strong, but he is at the top end of humanly strong. So let's see if he can just bust through that door, right? So he's going to make a move up, bust through that door, and he will succeed, but not great. So full disclosure, by the way, I did make these little tokens using Midjourney. So these are AI generated. The only reason I did is because I was looking for tokens and I could not find anything that I actually wanted to buy right off the bat. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more searching and scoping to see if there is anything, because I'd rather buy something from someone. First of all, I think they actually do look good for AI crap, but I'm looking to buy, if anybody knows of any tokens like these top-down things and so on, right? I would love to buy something like these mercs or whatever, but I would love to have them with a marker to show facing. And nothing has anything like that in the Roll20 store. And so I am vaguely annoyed, right? I'm always annoyed that like no one thinks that someone's going to play a game with facing on hexes. So anyway, so these are AI. I do apologize if that offends you. Sorry. I do not intend to use AI generated crap for the most part. And indeed, you know, I will look to buy tokens because I want to support people that draw things effectively. So I'm going to say that Tiny can kick through, but so he succeeds. So he gets a 17. So he succeeds on a 17. So it's 3 more than the door. I mean, that's not a bad success. So I am going to say that he sort of stumbles through, but only sort of like barely stumbles through. And he ends up there. And then Martin is going to be able, and I don't like having to turn these things like that to face them because that looks awkward. So, it's not great. And Martin is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Or actually he goes 1, 2, 3 and he's going to slam the damn door shut because that's a half move. So if he only goes 1, 2, 3, he can take a half move and close the door. So the mercs then are going to charge up as fast. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? They're going to get to the door. And Merc 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Merc 4 is going to get to here. Merc 5 is going to get to here, we'll say. Merc 1 can get, so they clamor around the door. These guys will jog up. What the hell, right? That kind of thing. So at first, they're going to jostle the door, and Martin is going to try to hold it with his muscle of 10. And he rolls, I don't know what to call that, 12 and a 1. That is literally the best possible roll. He rolls the fate there, right? The good fortune. And so he is just holding on to this damn thing with his whole body. And he's like, a little help here. And because Tiny has stumbled through the door, he's like on his hands and knees because he fell over. But they all have acted, and now they're trying to pull on the door, and Martin's trying to hold the door shut, right, with his whole body is just thrown against this thing. So Tiny's like, here, move out of the way. So we're going to focus on the door here. Move out of the way. And so he's going to slam up to the door right with his 18. And that is going to hold for a little bit. That gives Martin a chance to step away and survey the room. And he is going to make a wit check here, probably. So first off, is there anyone in here? Like, is this someone's house? Or is this a shop? Like, what is this place? So let's say, I have no idea what this might be. Let's say that on like a double digits, it is, so we'll say 50-50 that someone's in here. So 1 to 6, someone's here. No one is in here right now. Okay, that's easy. Let's say 1 to 12. 12 is being advantageous to the group. Like, what is possibly in here? On a high number, there's maybe a bunch of heavy furniture or a bunch of, there you go. It's an 11. So I'm going to say that maybe this is a storehouse. And there are going to be barrels, crates, heavy crap, right? Lots of heavy crap in here. I mean, that's all fine and good, but there, we'll put it like that. Up, come on, stop it. Oh, we can't not have, so this can't, what do you want to say? This does not allow us to not, it snaps. We can't unsnap this like we can, whatchamacalls. That's fine. So it's a storehouse. So he just sees tons of barrels, tons of crates, tons of heavy widgets. And Tiny is going to hold the door shut now against these mercenaries. He has a strength of 18. We'll say they have a 12. He is 6 up. So he holds the door fast. They bang on the door. Bam, bam, bam. And even with 2 of them slamming the door, he is still going to hold fast. In the meantime, the other mercenaries start to look for windows, which of course there likely are. Let's see what we're looking for window-wise here. So the other mercs are starting to file in. So is this place, how many, what are we talking about window-wise, right? So we'll say that on a 1 to 8, there's a few windows. On a 9 through 12, there's not a lot of, it's dark in here. 10. So it's actually, there are windows, but they are boarded up for some reason. And the place is pretty dark. There's a little bit of light creeping in from, cracks in the shutters and maybe like a little bit of a leak in the ceiling, right? That kind of thing. But this place is surprisingly dark as the mercenaries sort of swarm around the building. Look for a way in, bust that shutter, whatever, right? They're going to look for a way in. I think Martin is going to, easy one. Is there a freaking way out of here? probably is. I'm going to say 1 to 9, there is another way out. 10 through 12, no, that's the only way, so sort of weird. 2, there is indeed another way out of here that Martin can spot, we'll say with a wit check. -1, Martin's wit is a 15. He succeeds on a 14, yes, so he's going to see a damn door, probably. Leading out to the street. Let's roll a wit check for our mercenaries. Do they recall the door? But they're going to find it anyway. It's whether they rush to it to get there or whether they do. And so Merc 5 whistles. Go to the other door, man, other door, right? And so these guys are going to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Merc 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Merc 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they are heading around. Martin probably hears this. Just guessing. Shit, he does not have... So we don't have a ton of time here. This is a problem. This is a problem. So these guys bash on this door. These guys run around to the other door. Martin is surveying, sees the barrels, the crates, the heavy whatevers, and that's fine. He might be able to, but he's only a strength of 10, so he's unlikely to be able to move something in time to get that thing in front of the door. Now, the door might hold a little bit by itself because, again, the doors are strength 14, versus these guys will have to bust it down with 12s, effectively. So you might have a round or two, and maybe Martin can get something in place there. So, okay. So I'm thinking of a couple possibilities. One possibility obviously is to try, right? To try to trap one or the other of these groups. There's two of us. So Martin can either barricade this door, which again is going to be a little bit of a rush here. But he might be able to like roll a barrel there, which is just going to give you a little bit of time. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. The other option is to effectively, try to swipe these guys in and then make either a run for it, right? That kind of thing. Let's say Martin is going to try to get this door barricaded. So maybe there's some barrels that are close enough. So he's going to try to manhandle those barrels over. And he's a strength of 10, so he's probably down by 1 or 2, probably 2, just to get these in time. And he is adrenaline packed, like he is terrified. So he literally runs over, and so I think probably knocks the barrel, like tips the barrel over. And jams it up against the door where it's going to open up to give it the most leeway, the most sort of effective leverage on the door. These guys come around, and I'm going to give them a roll of a 12 against the door, which is a 14. But Martin has put something in place, so we'll make it even +2 more, -3. So the door, bam, slams. and but the barrel holds, right? You can see it jam up against the barrel. In the meantime, these guys, you know, Tiny's going to hold the door on these guys, and he just literally is standing there. And so Martin is going to take that next round to roll another barrel over, which is great, but now they're barricaded in here. Now what? I don't know. Martin's like, I don't know. Give me a moment to think. Right? Bam, against that door. Okay. So here's what, so, okay. So I think this door, I'm going to slide one more thing up against this door is what I think he's going to do. So he's going to go look at, like, get a, maybe a small, something like even a smaller crate, maybe just a third barrel to put, you know, right, to sort of stack up against here. And I'm going to give him one more thing that he puts, there you go. So there, that whatever that was, good enough. He pushes that against there. And I'm going to give these guys another roll just in case, right? They roll great. 5. Ooh. So they're 12s. That's a 17 versus the door's 14. But so there you go. So they make some progress, right? They slam open and this starts to give. So Martin's like, I got maybe 2 more of those before they get through. I'm going to say that Tiny is going to hold the door against these 2. So what Martin does is he runs to one of those windows. So we'll say there's a window here. And we'll just mark that with a little mini ellipse there. So there you go. There's a window. I don't know that that's not really a symbol for a window, but that's going to be a window for us. So there's a window. So Martin rolls up to the window with the shutters. And he's going to say, can you hold that for another 2 minutes, you know, whatever minute? And Tiny's like, yeah, I'm worried about those barrels. I'm worried about the front door. Granted, fair point. And then Martin's going to pull out the acid because the acid doesn't just do damage. Like it can. So what he's going to do is he is going to put acid around like the sides of the window pane, right? Or the hinges where this thing might open, or just the wood. And he's going to let this thing eat at the wood. And he'll use 2 vials, we'll say, which sucks because that's 2 damn vials, but he'll use 2 vials of which, so he has 4, he'll have 2. And he's going to use those 2 vials. And then what that's going to do is we hope that weakens the pain, oops, and I didn't, that now is 0.4, I think. But that's fine. So that weakens that window pane. And then they're just going to in a rush effectively bust that out and then make a run for it. So let's give these mercs a roll. 1, so that's not enough. Let's give Tiny the hold there. Ooh, -5, 18 to 12. He's still going to hold, but not by much. I'm going to say that door is going to give way here. Again, Tiny's like, I can't hold this much longer. He's getting tired, right? So we'll roll 2d4 plus 2 plus 1 damage. Well, it's 2d4 plus 1 twice for his acid. And let's say that the window pane has something like 10 points. So in around that 7. And the next round he will definitely get it because that will eat through. And he doesn't even need to use 2. He's going to only need to use 1 at that rate. It eats the wood, and maybe the wood's a little rotten, even a tiny bit. And so we'll do that, and that's a 6. So he only uses 1 vial, and he's like, wow, this is really going to go here. He's like, so he's like, he waits for another thump up here. And so these guys don't get it. Tiny holds again. They thump. And then Martin looks at, he's like, he gives him are you ready? Tiny's like, yeah, I'm ready. And then the mercenaries hit this door. Smack. And then as soon as that happens, he pushes that window pane that's damaged out and sort of climbs out. And Tiny's going to run and do the same thing. And they might hear Merc 4 will give him a chance to hear that. I mean, they're probably 10s, but their search is probably 8 because that's the default. So he probably doesn't hear it right away. They probably are ready to, are you ready? Yeah, you're ready. And they're going to bust in, and they do bust in. But I just squished him. But they bust in, but by the time they do, these guys are running for it. And we'll say that they make their escape. So I think we're going to call it there. Please like the video. Please comment. Subscribe if you haven't. It really means a lot to me. And we're hoping to grow the channel here in the next few months. And so your support is appreciated. Thank you very much for watching and listening. And I'll talk to you again soon.